Okay, I'm just gonna go over some of your sketches quickly and just tell you kind of things that are working and to maybe head in that direction and yeah, so let's look at Georgia. Here are your sketches. So I just want to reiterate the rules because you're not the only one that had a problem, but 5 to 15 shapes and includes a square, circle, triangle, line, and cross in each composition. Also, the colors, the shapes are either solid black or solid white, so no outlines. You know, there's a lot of outlines here, and I'm telling you, once you don't have any outlines, it's either black or white. It's going to change the look and the design a lot, and it can't change from black and white within the same shape. But anyway, having said that, I think you had a good exploration and that there's some things working and that you can, move ahead in your next set of sketches. Um, some that I thought had potential. Your first one here, I liked some of these angles and there's some tension here. I don't think it's perfect, but I think you can move some things around. I also enjoyed this one here. I like the breakup of space you have. So maybe work around that one a little. And there's one here. I like this circle here covering up these squares. It adds this illusion to depth. Um, and so, try moving things around and playing with that. Um, I thought that was a really interesting sketch. And here are your sketches. So you take a look. I think you had a good exploration, a lot of different ideas. One thing overall, I'd like to see you think about negative space. So right now, a lot of your shapes are just colored in black with a lot of white space. What if you reverse that, had a black background with a white shape, and also think about, designing this space. This is a lot of empty space. What if maybe this circle was a little bigger, maybe that one was a little smaller, or there was a reversed shape here. So again, there's just a lot of options, a lot of different things you can think about while you're sketching your next set of sketches. Some that I thought were interesting, my eye kind of came to this image. And I know your sketches are, sideways, so I kind of looked at them that way. And yeah, this triangle feels heavy, but on its side, maybe it works, or maybe it comes out this way or ends, doesn't touch both corners but kind of ends sooner. But I liked how there's kind of a medium, and there's smalls. And I think that's a good principle to kind of to think about: big, medium, small, rule of thirds, think about negative space. Um, and also this one here, I think these shapes are really trying to interact with each other, but at the same time they're kind of floating around. Maybe that's a good thing, but maybe you can push it a little further. Maybe you can make them interact a little more, or big, medium, small, make one bigger, make one smaller. So again, I think you had a good exploration of ideas. Just continue to play with those elements that you already have working with you or working for you. Okay, here's your sketches. Um, I thought you did a really excellent job on your sketches. A lot of different ideas, and I thought you showed them very well. Good principles. I'm just going to talk about some that I liked. Um, I really enjoyed this very last one. That was probably the last one you sketched. But, I don't know if it follows all the rules. But I really like these angles. It shows such a depth, and like you're on a different viewing plane. I think that's a good direction you could head in. I also, there's quite a few others that I like. Um, I was just looking at this one here, how your eye kind of moves through this space. You know, I think it could be better, but I think you're going in a good direction there. I like this here, how it's lost and found. There's an element, to play with in some of your other sketches. So good job on your sketches, and I'm excited to see, um, next week's sketches. Here are your sketches. I thought you did a good job with your sketches and that you're on the right track. I noticed there are a lot of this crescent moon shape repeating, and that's not bad, but maybe push some other ideas a little bit more, and play with size and variation. Vary things, make one object really big. Like here, I like how this object's really big, it's going off the page, and then there's a small object, a medium-sized object. I like that. This white space, maybe it's good, maybe it balances out this large space. And so, I think there's some things that are working there. Um, and let's look at your next page. I thought there were some interesting elements here. This is interesting, very symmetrical. Could it be pushed into an asymmetrical design? Probably. So again, good exploration, and push some of these ideas into your next set of sketches. So Young, I really enjoyed your depth of ideas, and there's a lot of variation. There's also a lot of elements in your sketches and making them very kind of complex and rich. Um, I thought you're going a really good direction, and I agree with the ones that you highlighted as your favorite. Um, this one I feel like is really strong, has some interesting elements here, lost and found. I like all these lines here. It balances things out. Um, so, you know, try reworking that idea in your next set of sketches, and also, explore other ideas, but these are just some of my thoughts. And I really liked this one too that you highlighted. Um, I, lo- I like this lost and found shape here. I thought that works and is really strong. These angles that and this angle here, I feel like those are strong elements in your design. And really, overall, your sketches, I feel like you're really getting it. And I'm excited to see your next set of sketches and see what you do. Tori, on your sketches, um, I feel like overall, when I first just took a glance at your sketches, a lot of them looked the same. A lot of the cross here, it was the same size, kind of doing the same thing, and a lot of the same shapes. And again, just the rules that, like here, we wouldn't have outline. We wouldn't, this would all just be a white shape, kind of melting into each other. Of course, I know these are sketches, and but just, in your next set of sketches, think about those things and plan for them. But I think you have a lot of interesting things going on in your sketches. Some that I feel like are stronger. I do like those one you highlighted as, you know, how you felt was one of your stronger ones. It creates a lot of interesting movement and tension. But again, I'm interested to see how you recreate this sketch using the rules that we talked about. And I can go over them again You know, there's 5 to 15 shapes in each composition. It includes a circle, square, triangle, line, and cross in each composition, and that the shapes are either solid black or white. There isn't any outlines. And so yeah, you know, move ahead with your next set of sketches with those rules. And let's see, I think there were a couple on this page that I really liked or that I thought were strong. Um, this one here, I feel like there's some good balance going on with the small shape here. You know, kind of has an equal weight to this larger shape. Um, and this one, I just love this tiny little circle there. I feel like, you know, it's a good principle having a big, medium, small, and you know, there's a big white shape here, there's a big black shape there, you know, there's kind of medium shapes and also a small shape, and I feel like that helps move your eye through the design. So just think about those, add some of those elements into your next set of sketches.